Professor Sirampalam is a professor of Jaffna University, professor of history. He has written a number of books. One of his best book is Hinduism in Sri Lanka, I think, if I remember right. Now he will address you.
Chairman and friends, today I am going to talk to you on the culture of Murukan in ancient Sri Lanka, a historical perspective, around 1000 AD. I have 13 subsections. The first subsection deals with the introduction. Yes, the figure 1, when you look at the figure 1 and figure 2, the figure 1 gives you the ethnic composition. The present day, the ethnic composition, especially the Tamils are concentrated in the northeast. That's number 1. Buddhism was introduced into Sri Lanka around 3rd century BC. When Buddhism was introduced into Sri Lanka, the prevailing religion of the country was Hinduism. For that we have archaeological evidence. I will deal with that subject later on. When people talk about Buddhism, they say Sri Lanka's Buddhism is impure because it has not superseded the culture of gods. This is not my own findings. The researchers, the foreigners who have worked on Buddhism, they say Hinduism and Buddhism exist side by side because that is an evidence for Buddhists having converted from Hinduism to Buddhism. That's the foreigners' assessment that we have recently found archaeological evidence to that effect. Because of the myths of early colonization from North India, religious history of the Sinhalese and Tamils studied separate. Now, as far as Sri Lankan history is concerned, they say the Sinhalese, the forefathers of the Sinhalese have come from North India. They brought the North Indian form of Hinduism, and the Tamils came later. They brought the South Indian form of Hinduism. That is why the religious history is being studied separately. The religious history of the Sinhalese and the religious history of the Tamils are being studied separately. Nevertheless, the South Indian cultural base of Sri Lankan civilization is substantiated by archaeological and anthropological evidence. The archaeological work done during the last 25 years have given a new vista on the beginnings of civilization in Sri Lanka. Actually, it has proved beyond any doubt, but we call up the early Sinhalese colonization from North India is a myth. Actually, the forefathers of the present day Sinhala and Tamil speaking people, they have come from South India, and for that we have archaeological evidence. And their culture was at the beginning very much similar to the Tamil culture, which is portrayed in the Sangam literature. They spoke 2 languages. One is Tamil, 2 roots spoke 2 languages. One is Tamil and Elu. Elu is the Proto-Sinhala language. So hence Singhalization was culturalization process associated with Buddhism and Consider. It is only after the coming of Buddhism in the 3rd century BC and the introduction of Pali, the language of Buddhism, that Sinhala language paved the way for the development of Sinhala language and the bifurcation of what we call this common cultural base between the Sinhalese and Tamils. This is the recent history of the past. Now, number two. Sources for the study. I am going to talk to you about the culture of Murukan. Unfortunately, in Sri Lanka, we don't have the Sangam literature. But our poets are gone to Tamil Nadu and their poems are available in the Sangam literature. Yet, in the Sangam literature, we have enough evidence for the culture of Murukan. And also, the Sanskritization of this culture. I mean the Sanskritization or Hinduization of this culture. This is evident from the names, Sanskrit names such as Skanda, Kumara, Mahasena, Visakha, Karti. These are all Sanskrit names. These names you get in Tirumuruvattu, the pan-Indian development of Hinduism, that is the coming of the northern elements, northern influences to Tamil Nadu, and the original indigenous culture of Murukan became synthesized, became what they call amalgamated with the North Indian culture. In the absence of Sangam literature in Sri Lanka, one has to fall back on the Sangam literature to elucidate the cultural elements associated with the culture of Murukan. Unfortunately, in Sri Lanka, we don't have the Sangam literature. But since we have a common base with South India, Tamil Nadu, in order to elucidate the elements of this cult, he can get evidence from the Sangam literature. Buddhist chronicles furnish little information. In fact, they say Hinduism is a false faith. They don't get it. The Buddhist chronicles, they have been written for the happiness, serene joy and happiness of the Buddhist. No, and when they refer to Hinduism, they say it's a false faith. However, the archaeological and anthropological evidences are available for the study of this cult. Although the form Murukan is absent in the earliest Brahmin script, is very important. Of course, now people are studying more deeply in the early Brahmin scriptures. These Brahmin scriptures are written in the Brahmin script going back to 2,200 years ago. And there you get all the reference to sanskritization of this cult. But unfortunately, the studies so far done, they have not shown any evidence for the presence of the name Murukan. But the sanskritization of the cult, names indicating the sanskritization of this cult, such as Skanda, Kumara, Guga, Visaha, Swamidatta, Mahasena, Kartiyam are all there in the Brahmin scriptures. That means Sinhalese, the forefathers of the Sinhalese and Tamils, the so-called Sinhalese who before embracing Buddhism, they were Hindus. This has been proved beyond any doubt by the presence of these names in the Brahmin inscriptions. They are found all over Sri Lanka. Their date is somewhere 200 BC before Christ. Correlation of the data from Sangam literature with Sri Lankan archaeological and anthropological sources furnish an overall picture of this cult. These are the sources, correlating with all sources, the archaeological, anthropological and the history sources. Now we can have get a history, develop a history of this cult. Number three. Nature of the cult of Murukan. The nature of the worship of Murukan. Worship of Murukan was centered around Vale, spear, Vale, dancing in frenzy, that is Bariyadal, by the priest Velan, who had spear in his hands while dancing in Kalam. Animal sacrifice and Kuravai dance are the main features. Valli was his first concert and Devayana was his second concert, later because of the sanskritization and Hinduization of this cult. Number 4. Archaeological evidence. Where is the earliest symbolic evidence of this god? The earliest iconographic representation is found only in the Somaskanda sculptures of the Pallava period. He is represented iconographically, sculpturally, in the earliest sculptures dated to 6th, 7th century AD. There is evidence for it. In Adichanallur, one of the ancient sites of in Tamil Nadu, during the excavations, we have come across Vale, that is the spear during the course of the excavation, and also Pop emblem, the vehicle of Murukan, and also mouthpieces worn by Kavadi wearers. But we have Sri Lankan parallel also. In the similar sites we have excavated so far, especially in Porto, we have come across these spear, this Vale. In Kandaroda, we have found Vale. And also in the southern Sri Lanka, also they have discovered Vale. Moreover, Vale is also found as a graffiti mark on the pottery. The earliest pottery which we speak of the earliest settlements, in the earliest pottery, you get this Vale depicted in the form of a graffiti mark. It's a mark. So we have concrete archaeological evidence for the worship of Vale, that is the earliest symbolic representation of this cult all over Sri Lanka as it was in Jaffna. Number 5. Archaeological source. That is concept of Padai, that military camps of Murukan is very well expressed in the Sangam work, Tirumuru Padai. These military camps are mentioned as Tiruparankundram, Siralavai, Avinangudi, Eragam, Palamurisolai, Kundudoradal. But fortunately, we have Sri Lankan parallels also. We have parallels from eastern Sri Lanka. The concept still survives in Sri Lankan Murukan temples of eastern Sri Lanka. Verigal Sitra Velayada Swami temple, Sittandi Sitra Velayada Swami temple, Periya Borayiva Sitra Velayada Swami temple, Mandur Kanda Swami temple, Ugande Sitra Velayada Swami temple, Tirukkoyil Sitra Velayada Swami temple. Sitra Velayadam actually, this is the form Velayadam. is found in all the periods. So this, in fact, reminds us a similar concept of Padavudi. This was Padavudi found mentioned in the Tiruvati Padai. That shows that there was an earlier substratum of religious belief common to Tamil Nadu and Sri Lanka. Other parallels. Where still, where is the center of worship in both Agamic and non-Agamic temples. Even some of all the Murukan temples, in the sanctum sanctuaries, that's Mulasthana, you are the Agamic temples with the Mount also. I think even Vale is also found in the sanctum sanctuary. So Vale is the main center of worship in all the temples. Kalam is known as Yandra in Kerala, worshipped in the sanctum sanctorium of Kattaragam. Kattaragam is Yandra. Yandra, of course, the Yandra you can trace it back to Kalam. You know, the Murukan, the Velan, when he performs the dance, he performs it in Kalam, Kalam created by him. And that is referred to in Kerala as Yandra. Yandra, you can see the similarity of the name Yandra. The Kalam is known as Yandra in Kerala. Today in Kattaragama, Kalam is in Kalam, that is Yandra, is worshipped in the Mulasthana, in the sanctum sanctorium. Variyat, ecstatic dance known from Murukan still survives in Kerala as Variyat. Even Variyat is also found in the eastern Sri Lanka, even in other places also. Sri Lankan Tamil poet of Sangam age, Pidathu Pudandavana's poem in Kurundagai refers to Variyat. One of the poets of Sangam age, he went to Tamil Nadu, and one of the poems you get reference to Variyat. That shows this was prevalent in Sri Lanka, and he was familiar with this type of tradition. Vela and Puris are referred to as Vela. That is the other evidence we have in the Brahmin scriptures. Velan is referred to as Vela in the Brahmin scriptures. These are the donations to the Buddhist Sangha dated to 200 BC in Anuradhapura, Marthala, Ambara, and even Amartha areas. Counterparts of Velan Puris are Kapuralas and Kattakam. Today, the Kapuralas perform the same function as it was done by the Velan priest in those days in the Sangam literature. Similarly, you get Kapuana in Eastern province, the Kapuralas in the Kattaragama, and Kapuana in the Eastern province. They remind the old tradition of the worship priest. Covering of the mouth by a piece of cloth by the priest by performing the ritual is a common practice in Chelachanadi, even in the eastern Sri Lanka, and even Kattaragama, they cover the mouth with a piece of cloth. They will perform this worship. Kadambu tree, that is sacred tree of Murukan, figures in the Buddhist sources. And Kadambu tree is one of the sacred trees. It is mentioned as one of the sacred trees in the Buddhist sources. That is Murukan, sacred tree of Murukan. Sri Lanka and Pandian region was closely linked. The cult of Murukan was popular in Pandian region as also in all the Murukan temples are concentrated in the Pandian regions. Similarly, all these temples were concentrated in the early temples were concentrated in Sri Lanka, all over Sri Lanka. The common stratum of religious beliefs between ancient Tamil Nadu and Sri Lanka. Now, I have now told you there was various stratum of religious belief before the Sanskritization of Hinduization took place between Tamil Nadu and Sri Lanka in the form of Hindu worship, Velan worship, and Velan priests and all that. But the Sinhalese and the Tamils, they had a common religious base, strata, religious base. Tolla, in Tolla says, 4 gods presiding over the 4 regions of ancient Tamil. The earliest grammar, you have evidence of this. Mayavan over the region of forest, Mullai. Seyon over the region of hills, Kurinchi. Vendan over the township of Murukan. And Varnan over the sea coast. These are the 4 gods presiding over the 4 regions. This is mentioned in Kulla. But similar concept survives among the Sinhalese in the form of folk religion. It is a part of the heritage that they have inherited from the tradition that they have inherited from the early forefathers. Professor Bacha, I have this not my own discovery. Professor Bacha, a famous professor from Germany, he has shown parallel on this, and he has written 2-3 articles for the World Saiva Conference also on this earliest attempt of the common religious belief in commonality and the Sicilians. The concept of four gods still survives in the folk religion of the Buddhists. The order of importance is follows. Mayon. Mayon is, the Sinhalese worshipped Mayon, that is Nilopalan, that is Vishnu, in the form of Uppulavanna. Uppulavanna is the earliest god. And they have four gods in their folk religion. Four gods in the folk religion. That is number one, like the Sanskrit literature, he is Mayon. He is worshipped as Uppulavanna. He is also a blue color god, like Uppulavanna is also blue colored god, like Mayon. Then Sayo, that is second god mentioned in the Tolapyam, is worshipped as god of Kataragama. Kataragama is god of Kataragama than the Murukan. Then Vent and Varanam, they figure among in the Singhala folk religion as Sumana, Vibhishana, or Nada or something. So according to him, the concept of these four gods still survives in some other form among the Sinhalese. Sanskritization process of this culture, number 7, is this Sanskritization. Now I told you that we have the earliest ways, the archaic ways of this worship in World Saiva Conference. Later on we have another layer, Sanskritization, Pan-Indianization, Hinduization. That is evident from the Tirunelveli. Similar process took place in Sri Lanka also before the coming of Buddhism. For that we have evidence because earliest Brahmin inscriptions you get in Anuradhapura, Pavaniya, Kekol, Purnagala, Ambar and all the places you get reference to Skanda, Kumar, Guga, Visar, Mahasin and so on. Early temples of Jaffna in Jaffna Malay, we have reference to the early temples in Jaffna, especially the Mahutaka temple established by Mahutaka and all that. People say this is as myth and all that. But they, in a way, they reflect the presence of these temples in the early days in Jaffna, although they are depicted in the form of myths. Then we had the Murukan temples we have even in Anuradhapura. In the Buddhist chronicles, there are two references. One reference refers to Yaksha and the Buddhist chronicles always refer to the non-Buddhist deities as Yaksha in a derogatory manner in the sense, despised manner. Say that they are demons. Kala Veda, the people who have analyzed the term has found out that this is more than Veda. Similarly, Siddharaja. Siddharaja is like Murugan, very handsome, facing with the mind and all that. So, Siddharaja is associated with Yagi and festival. So, we have earliest temples from Anuradhapura, Jaffna. Similarly, in Kataragama also. Pre-Buddhist Sanskritization process is confirmed by the 3 Brahmin inscriptions mentioned in Kumara. Kumara is known as Murukan. Kumara is Murukan. Sanskritization. There are inscriptional evidence we get in Kataragama. 3 references are there. And this word form Murukan, that Kumara is found in those 3 inscriptions. Kataragama became village of this which refers which means village of divine glories associated with the 3rd visit of Buddha. What do they do is the Buddhization, when the Buddhization process took place, they associated the early Hindu places with the visits of Buddha. By visiting these places, he sanctified these areas. This happened to all the Hindu places. Kataragama also was one of the places visited by Buddha. And Kshatriyas of Kataragama, they were Hindus. And the Santanagar, over the southern Sri Lanka, were the special invitees at the planting of poetry along with Brahmin Devata. After the introduction of Buddhism, the symbol of Buddhism, poetry, was brought into Sri Lanka by Sangamika. And the planting of poetry was a sacred function. It took place in Anuradhapura. For this special occasion, Kataragama, the Kshatriyas, who were the ruling princes of Kataragama and other areas, were invited. They were Hindus, but in their own places, the bow sapling, tree plant, bow tree was planted in other places also. The branches of the bow tree was planted in other places. It's again like Sanskritization, Buddhization of earlier Hindu places of worship had taken place. Bosha plates were planted at Kataragama as a symbol of acceptance of Buddhism. Popularity of the cult of Murukan during the Pallava and Pandya period. Yes. I have 3 minutes. Yes. In the Thevaram literature, you get evidence for the popularity of Murukan cult. Thevaram, you get evidence. Somaskanda image, we have reference to Somaskanda stage, and we have found similar image in Tirukeswara. We have reference for this cult of Murugan even in Purneswara, in Sudavams. Via Yalpana Vayamola refers to the establishment of Murugan temple at Mount Abram. Reference to Murugan temple at Nallur is also, I think Kailaya Mala refers to the foundation of Murugan temple at Nallur. Then inscription of Rajendra, discovered in Jaffna fort around 1000 AD, refers to a temple at Nallur. So we have evidence for the building of Murugan temples, that is around 9th, 10th centuries AD. Architectural remains from Anuradhapura. The foundations of Hindu temples have been discovered in Anuradhapura dating back to during the 19th century. Only the foundations, and some of them surely would have been temples of people belonging to Murugan. Conclusion. The cult of Murugan in Sri Lanka is ancient and widespread as that of the cult of Murugan in Tamil. So the evidence I have shown so far here indicates that the cult of Murugan was popular, widespread, ancient in both regions, Tamil Nadu and Sri Lanka. In both the regions, it went through the process of Hinduization process. Yet the archaic features of this cult still survive among the Tamils and Sinhalese. The Tamils we worship as Murugan and Sinhalese worship as Hindu, as Kanda, and also and is part of the folk religion of the Sinhalese. They still go to Kataragama and worship them. The folk religion of the Sinhalese and the religion of the Tamils beats with their common origin, common cultural base. The cult of Murugan not only is very important, binds Pandyan country and Sri Lanka, but also binds northeastern province as a you can see the map.
Go back, number 1.
Yes.